when we hit those speed bumps, when we hit those potholes, if you can remember to ask yourself the question, what do I want my attitude to be? It will make a real difference to you. And it won't make just a real difference to you here at the hotel in Chicago. It'll make a real difference to you when you're dealing with your customers, with your clients, and with your work colleagues when you go back to work. So, knowing the people here in this room, I know that everyone here in this room does not have any difficult colleagues to work with, right? I know that everyone here in this room doesn't have any difficult clients or customers to work with. But let's assume you did have a difficult colleague to work with. Let's assume that you know that when you're going into a meeting next week with this difficult colleague, you're kind of saying to yourself, I just cannot work with that person, or that person drives me crazy, or they're just so unappreciative of the work and the results that we are generating. One way that will help you to change the environment in that meeting room or at that meeting is that before you go to the meeting, ask yourself the question, what do I want my attitude to be when I'm inside there? And I think when you ask yourself the question, what do I want my attitude to be, when you're going in dealing with your difficult work colleague, or you're going in dealing with a customer that you really have difficulties with, when you ask yourself the question, what do I want my attitude to be, you're not going to say, I want to be cranky, I want to be upset, I want to annoy them. I think if you ask yourself the question, what do I want my attitude to be, you're probably going to say, I need to get something out of this meeting. I need this meeting to be productive. And when you ask that question, what do I want my attitude to be, I think it will shape the format and your thinking for that meeting. And if you go into that meeting with that kind of a different attitude, you may well come out with a totally different result, a more positive result. It is a powerful question that can make a real difference to you. So the question is, what do I want my attitude to be? I'll give you one. If you ask yourself, what do I want my attitude to be when things go wrong, you're not going to say, I want to be annoyed, I want to be upset. When you ask yourself the question, what do I want my attitude to be, you're more likely to say, I don't want to be angry, I don't want to be annoyed about this. And having answered that way, you will make some effort not to be angry and not to be frustrated. And I'll give you an example where it helped me a couple of years ago. I was driving in the western suburbs of Chicago in heavy rush hour traffic. Came to a set of traffic lights, turned left at the traffic lights, and a few seconds after turning left, I noticed in my rear view mirror a mobile discotheque. Cop car, flashing lights. So I pulled to the slower lane, he pulled to the slower lane. And I remember saying to myself, well, holy St. Patrick and St. Bridget. Bit of respect there, please. Holy St. Patrick and St. Bridget, what could that fine officer of the law want from an upstanding citizen like me? Now, that was the gist of what I was thinking. I may have said just one four-letter word. But for those of you whose mind is in the gutter, the word was oops. Which, as you all know, stands for uh-oh, police, stop. Right. So I pulled into a little small parking lot at the side of the road, and as I was pulling in, I said to myself, now why does he want to speak to me? And the only reason I could figure why he might want to speak to me was when I had turned left at the traffic lights, they were slightly red. But not by a whole lot, no, mind you. So he is there on his computer checking me to see if, in my case, I'm a member of the Irish Republican Army, or even worse, a Cubs fan. Go White Sox! I have to tell you, depending on who I'm speaking to, I obviously try and put in a kind of an answer to that gets a reaction. But when I was speaking up near the Green Bay area a couple of years ago, I made the comment that the cop was checking to see if I was a member of the Irish Republican Army, or worse, a Packers fan. I didn't think I would get out of that room alive. So he was there checking my computer to see what my record was like. And I asked myself the question that I said you should ask when things go wrong. So I asked myself the question, What do I want my attitude to be? And I said, there's no point in being antsy and annoyed about this. He probably doesn't understand the concept of slightly red lights. So in my side mirror, I see him walking up towards me, and this being Chicagoland area, I prayed that he had an Irish name. I prayed that he had this vision of Ireland, that the roads are still unpaved, that milk is brought to the creamery via donkey and cart, and that traffic lights, if they exist at all, are, well, basically advisory. I look up. Officer Schmidt, who proceeded to tell me in minute detail what I had done wrong. He asked for my license and he asked for my insurance. Now, none of this is made up, I promise you. I had asked myself the question, what do I want my attitude to be? As he is looking at my license, he says to me, "Sir, I like your attitude." I'm thinking, woohoo, I'm getting away with this. Then he looks at my insurance and he says, "Sir, your insurance certificate is out of date." My wife normally looks after that, officer. He smiled. I think he realized he was dealing with one more administratively incompetent husband. Ladies, you know the story, I'm sure. And he just handed back the insurance certificate to me and he said, "Look, take it easy on that one." Now, I should tell you that this event happened on the 16th of March. Okay? One day before St. Patrick's Day. So the rest of the conversation went as follows. We're having great good fun, and as you will see, it continued that way. So the rest of the conversation went, "How much will this cost me, officer?" He said, "I'll cite you for the red light. I'll leave you go on the insurance. That'll cost you $75, sir." $75? Do you know how many pints of Guinness I can get tomorrow for $75? The guy cracked up laughing. I think he thought I was on crystal meth. And he said to me, "Sir, if I was to cite you for the red light and the lack of insurance, this would be significantly more expensive. You'd have to go to a traffic court." So I said, "Thank you, I appreciate the break you're giving me." I pull into a very small parking lot with only one access and egress, so I had to turn the car around and drive by Officer Schmidt. As I drove by Officer Schmidt, I kid you not, he waved to me with a genuine smile. That was how the conversation had gone. And I said, "This is crazy. This guy's waving to me with a genuine smile and he's after fining me $75. And I waved back to him with a genuine smile saying, "This is really crazy. He's fined me $75 and I'm waving back to him." But what Officer Schmidt, though, would not have known was that for only $75, I had got a really memorable anecdote about the importance of asking yourself a really powerful question when things go wrong. And when things go wrong, and they will for every single person in this room at some stage, the question to ask yourself is, what do I want my attitude to be? It's a powerful question. If you get stuck in a traffic jam on the 88 this afternoon or 355 or going home and there's nothing you can do about it, ask yourself the question, what do I want my attitude to be?